From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. And it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Calm down, brother. It's Tuesday. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Always fun. I always love doing this with you guys, doing the show as well, too, especially on Tuesdays, because we've gotten pretty much the week kicked off and all that good stuff. So pretty much let's jump into it. The Kings go up 2-0 in series versus Warriors. The series still winnable or over for Curry and company? Man, this is a toughie. Telling you. You know what? If you look at the lines last night, it was not that bad of a situation for the Warriors. It was just that, let's just keep it real. Draymond Green going out of the game really threw him off, because I'm going to keep it real. There was a bunch of points in that game last night that I thought that the Warriors would eventually just take the game over, because that's what it felt like, that they were going to have a moment where they took the game over and it wasn't going to be anything. You know what I mean? And I feel like what happened is that they got a little overzealous when Draymond did what he did last night. Now, Draymond somewhat is in a 50-50 situation where it made a whole lot of sense when a guy grabs your leg and you're trying to get loose, that you might step on it, you might run over his chest, you might hit a hand, you might do something like that, but you're not purposely doing it. But he had his leg grabbed, and for him to actually step on the guy's chest and then stop it as well too, and then run off, that's when you start saying, okay, man, that's a bit too much right there. And I really felt like when Draymond did that, he totally destroyed whatever momentum the Warriors had last night. The Warriors were actually in the process of probably taking the lead in that game in the next few possessions. They were only down about 2 points at the point when Draymond was booted out the game. And Curry had a great night last night. He had 28. Also, Thompson had a good night last night with 21. He was 5 of 10 from the three-point line. And he actually scored the final 9 points of the game, for this final 9 out of 11 points for the Warriors as well, too. He was actually keeping them kind of in the game there late in that spot, but it just was too much to overcome. Jordan Poole had an awful night last night. He only shot 7 times, and he had 4 points last night. So, that's pretty dreadful for a guy that's, making $140 million, that made $140 million in the offseason, on a deal, on an extension. So, him not being able to step it up and be that top player off the bench, that's somewhat of an issue, don't you think? Wiggins was good last night in his second game back. I think that Wiggins coming back is really vital towards this team as well. But let's keep it real. They were in a little foul trouble last night as well, too. Looney had 5, Draymond had 5, Wiggins had 5 as well, too. So, a lot of their players just were really playing real hard last night, but they just couldn't get it done. Now, the trio of Sabonis, Fox, and Monk went off last night. They had themselves a really good night in all senses of the word, to be honest with you. Fox and Sabonis and Monk were able to get 76 points last night. Not 76, but actually 66 points as a group. You had 24 apiece for Sabonis and Fox, and then you had 18 from Monk off the bench. Davian Mitchell also had 14 off the bench as well too. So that's pretty good in a sense to where you can see the depth of this Kings team. Now they had 6 guys in double figures last night. Now my man Keegan Murray only had 2 points though, and they were only 2 free throws too. He only shot once last night, so there must have been something wrong with him. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I would expect a rookie to do a little bit more and shoot more than once. So all in all, I just truly think that Draymond's going to have to calm down a bit in this next game. But I do understand that his foot did get grabbed twice in these games. So, it makes sense. And he does have somewhat of a gripe. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think that the Kings have a lot of pent-up frustration over the years, knowing that it took 16 years to get back here. And then also the fact that De'Aaron Fox has been one of those guys. And De'Aaron Fox actually went to the All-Star game a bit too late, in my opinion. I think that he should have been in the All-Star game at least 2 years ago. That he should have been started being in the All-Star game. But with the overlook in Sacramento, how bad it is that De'Aaron Fox kind of got caught up with that. So I'm so happy that he didn't wind up having to be like Jason Terry. Jason Terry spent his first 4 or 5 years in the league in Atlanta, and he was an absolute killer. And Atlanta was one of the worst teams in basketball, so nobody knew exactly what to do with the Jason. They didn't know what to think of a Jason Terry. Jason Terry gets to Dallas, and things change a little bit, and life gets different, and he becomes one of the greatest shooters of all time. And he had to switch locations, but that didn't have to happen for De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is taken in Sacramento as his home, and it's working out pretty well. Now, we will talk more and more in depthly about Game 3, but my last analyst for this is this. Do not get too crazy about a series being 2-0 right now, because I've seen the Lakers come back multiple times from a 2-0 series. I've seen the Chicago Bulls come back, the Prime Bulls come back from a 2-0 series as well too. So you guys have to understand, when you're down 2-0 in a series and you're not the home team, you're really not in a bad spot until that road team beats you at home. So this series really hasn't begun until a road team wins on the road. And I think that we know that what we're up against here when it comes down to this series, that these guys are only about an hour away from each other, 45 minutes or so. So pretty much the back and forth for this situation, they're not logging a lot of travel time. So this will be a long series. And I felt like I said Sacramento in 6, and I'm still sticking to that right. But I'm telling you right now, if the Warriors absolutely smoke them in these next 2 games in San Francisco, I don't know. I don't know if the Kings will be able to even come back from that, because at the end of the day, the Warriors are capable of winning this series by 4-2. They're capable of doing what I like to call a backdoor sweep. You know what I mean? So pretty much that's exactly what they could do. So the Kings need to still be on the lookout. They need to play Game 3 like they're down 0-2. They can't play Game 3 like they're up 2-0, because they got comfortable last night, and that's when the Warriors were able to come back in that game as well too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But the Kings are now up. The Kings are now up 2-0 in this series, and they're feeling good. They're feeling great. The Warriors, I'm going to keep it real, they're not even panicking right now about this, okay? Just think about it. Do you really need to panic? No, you don't, because you're not the team that is just now getting back into the playoffs. You're the team that just won an NBA title last year. So you're a very dangerous situation here in the playoffs, regardless of how people feel and how people think. But people need to realize too, as I've told you all season, the Warriors are one of the worst road teams in the NBA. So them losing these 2 games in a row is no surprise to me at all. So I'm telling you right now, it's really going to be up to the Kings to take advantage of the opportunity and not look at this opportunity like they're up 2-0. They need to look at the opportunity like they're down 0-2 or 0-3, and this is the season on the line. If they take that approach, they'll give the Warriors everything that they possibly can handle. And this could be something that proves to be very noteworthy for the Kings in possibly winning this series. But if they ask me today, is this series over after what happened last night? Hell to the nizza. All right. So pretty much let's go ahead and move forward to our next topic. And we're going to be talking some NBA Tuesday night playoff games. We got 3 tonight. We got the Hawks and Celtics. They'll be playing on NBA Network. We got the Knicks and Cavs on TNT. And then we got the nightcap with the Suns and the Clippers on TNT as well, too. The Hawks and Celtics look to try to, make things a little bit more watchable because their game was probably the biggest blowout of them all, other than the Denver, Minnesota game. Knicks and Cavs probably had the best game in the Eastern Conference out of anybody in the playoffs. They had a real back and forth tussle, but the Knicks really dominated most of that game as well, too. But, the Cavs are a team that really does have that look of being a team that can contend with everybody else here in this playoff. And then you got the Clippers and the Cavs, probably the game of the night, straight up. Now, you got a great face-off tonight with Kawhi and KD round 2, because they had an awesome game. They combined for 55 points. Actually 65, I'm sorry. But they combined for 65 points in that battle royale. You had you had Durant with 27 and you had Kawhi with 38. So that was off the hook. So pretty much let's go ahead and jump into our first game of the night, and that's going to be the Hawks and the Celtics. The Hawks was really bad in the first game. Let's just keep it real. The Hawks just were, fish out of water because seriously, honestly, by not playing since Tuesday, that had some effect on them. You see that Miami was so good on Sunday because they were fresh out of a game that was a must-win situation where their season depended on it. Now, the Hawks, they were able to get some rest, do it easy, and then they put themselves in a bad position because they got to play against Boston, who's one of the better teams in the NBA. So Boston comes out and absolutely wrecks them in game 1. They beat them by 13, but that wasn't the case. They got absolutely dragged. They were down 30 points in the first half, okay? And it took a pretty good second half for them to, even make it the game it was. But Boston is going to have to do better today. Boston scored 38 points in the second half. I know that they were already up 30, and that wasn't a big deal because I think they knew that they had things handled, but you still don't want to get into those habits because a team sees you, go up, and then they know that you're going to get comfy and start relaxing and resting a bit. They're going to take advantage of that. Now, last game, DeJounte Murray led all scorers for the Hawks. He had 24, and Trae Young had 16. They're going to have to flip that around today because the thing is, DeJounte is more of their point man, more of their pass guy, and Trae is more of the shooter, but Trae is an assist man as well, too. So they're going to have to get a little bit more from Trae today, in my opinion. He's going to have to be better from the three-point line. 1 for 5 is not going to do it, okay, straight up. John Collins is going to have to be better as well, too, even though he did have a pretty good game, but he's going to have to get more looks. I think DeJounte Murray getting 25 shots is not a recipe for winning for this team. John Collins and Trae Young always need to be the first options, and then DeJounte Murray finds his way into the mix. I think that he's doing a bit too much for the guy who's supposed to be the point guard. You know what I mean? And, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, once again, the best duo in basketball right now. They go ahead and they get themselves 54 points as a group. Then Devin White was able to step up and throw in 24 himself. Marcus Smart got 11. And then you got a good effort from Robert Williams off the bench with 12 points and 8 rebounds. So this team going 7 deep, they might be the best 7-man rotation in the playoffs, pretty much point blank, when you see how this group lines up. And they literally did not have to play anybody off their bench the other night. They played Sam Hauser other than Brogdon and Williams, but that's what we're going to prepare ourselves for with this team, is that they're not going to be having a lot of their bench playing. And Grant Williams was actually out as well too, but that's because possibly they wanted to rest him, because I know that he had some nagging injuries coming into the playoffs. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. They'll probably use more of their bench tonight, because they did have these guys log a lot of minutes last week, especially Tatum and Brown. You know what I mean? Tatum and Brown both played almost 40 minutes last week. And you got to understand, these guys absolutely dragged the Hawks, and they still played a lot of the minutes in that game. So tonight, the way that I look at this one, I think the Hawks are going to be able to cover in this game tonight, to be honest with you. I think that the Hawks are going to have a different game plan tonight. They're going to attack a little bit harder. And I think when it comes down to it, the Celtics will probably be in a position to where they do take it they play a little comfortable tonight, because they know how much better they are than Atlanta. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We will move forward from there. So let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Knicks and the Cavs. And this game is going to be from the almighty Rocket Mortgage. It used to be the Q. It used to be the Gund Arena. Only arena I know that's probably been changed about 4 times since its existence. And, it's not even 30 years old yet, and it's already on its 3rd name. So, it's a crazy arena, because it's not going to be like Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden will probably never, ever have a sponsor in front of Madison Square Garden. It just ain't going to happen. You know what I mean? Because that name, the copyright on that name alone, is one of the most expensive in all of sports, period. So, pretty much that's the most prime location that you could have an arena at. I don't care what anybody says. Literally, they are the reason why most basketball arenas are in downtowns. And pretty much that's where basketball arenas need to be, are in downtown. All right, so Knicks, Cavs. Cavs fans, you already know that they're pretty pissed off about what happened on Saturday, because they got high hopes. This is the first time you don't have LeBron here, getting all the credit. This team really made it on their own. There was no LeBron credit. There was no LeBron nothing for this one. Julius Randle proved to be a tough out for the Cavs. And then Jalen Brunson is just absolutely dynamic. That guy is an incredible player, and he's doing big things. He had 27 points in the last game, and that led. Did it lead both sides? No, it did not, because Donovan Mitchell had 38 himself. But the Knicks, they played a great team effort, and it's crazy because, the Knicks didn't have multiple double-digit scorers, but the Knicks did have guys contribute more than, say, 5-6 points. And they only had 3 double-digit scores, but everybody who was in the game contributed something to the game. Julius Randle with that double-double, 19 and 10, that was huge. Also, Robinson having the game that he had. He only had 6 points, but he had 5 offensive rebounds to his 8 rebounds for the game. That was crucial. That was huge for this team to keep the extra possessions and everything going. But the bench was the key. Hartenstein, and Toppin all played really good basketball. They didn't score a lot of points, but what they did, though, they won the plus-minus matchup. So there's a lot of things that just are in their favor right now that tell me that the Knicks are in a prime position to actually get the upset in this series. But the Cavs, they had 3 guys in double digits as well, too. But they need more from Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley only had 8 points to 11 rebounds the other night. So they're going to need more from Evan. Even though he's +9, they're going to still need more from him tonight. Yeah, 5 offensive rebounds, but you need more buckets. You need more points. Darius Garland is the guy that they're looking to score more points as well, too. He only had 17. Jared Allen had 14, but he had 14 rebounds as well. So this team actually did play up to it, but they just fell short. It's just that simple. They didn't get anything from Rubio. Rubio only had 2 rebounds and 2 turnovers in 5 minutes of play. You had Wade there as well, too. He didn't do much. Karis LeVert, didn't do much with in the time that he was on the court either, and they didn't get much from Osman either. So pretty much this team is going to have to really step it up today, and they're going to have to get some. They may have to go and actually put in. I would say they might have to give Robin Lopez some minutes today, so they can just get a little toughness going. You know what I mean? So pretty much in this game today, though, I really truly feel like the Knicks are going to breathe easy because they have the road win that they needed. You know, because the Knicks know that they had to go to Cleveland and split. They've already won their game that they needed to win. So I truly think that what happens here is that the Cavs actually wind up winning this game by 10 or better. They're -6 tonight on the spread, but I think that they have a double-digit win up their sleeve, to be honest with you, tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and go in that regard tonight, and I'm going to take the Cavs with the -6 tonight to go ahead and win this game tonight against the New York Knickerbockers. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we move from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our final game, which is going to be the Clippers and the Suns. And I just want to say one thing about what happened the other night with Russell Westbrook. Fans need to really check themselves. Like, seriously. Like, nobody comes to your job and tells you a bunch of degrading comments and everything like that after you've messed up, you know, the 3 p.m. meeting. Nobody comes over and does that. And I know that Phoenix fans were a little upset the other night because they were just had lost the game. It happens. And Westbrook was a big reason why they lost the game, was because he had a monster block at the end of that game, and he threw the ball off of Devin Booker as well, too, as he was complaining about a foul. So he got a good old street ball play against Devin Booker that was absolutely like the play of the night. But the thing is, what marred the game was the highlight of the night was Westbrook having to walk into a suite and tell a fan that he needs to watch his mouth. And this fan was very deliberate in their tone as well, too, on a rebuttal as Westbrook was walking out of the tunnel. So I think that fans need to check themselves because they need to understand that they're not going to beat up these professional athletes. This is just not going to happen. And they're not even going to get past the security to do anything. Now, I truly do feel like Clipper security did drop the ball in that situation. You never let a player get that far into that type of private situation as well, too, because if anything would have happened, Westbrook would have got sued. So pretty much, I think tonight they're going to have to exude very smart behavior. And I think that the Phoenix Suns are going to have to really let their fans know that harassing players home or road is not allowed. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a fan, you can cheer, you can do all those things, but don't cross the line. It's just that simple. Don't cross the line, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be the victim here. And I think a lot of them are just pining to be victims, and they got to stop. You just got to stop. The whole world thinks that they're so tough and so strong-willed and all this other crap. Just go enjoy a basketball game, man. There's so much more going on in life than you being mad at a player doing his job. You know what I mean? So pretty much it is what it is, man, at the end of the day. But fans, you got to do better. You have to do better. This has to stop being even a conversation by anybody. You got to do better. It's just that simple. All right. So I'm looking at the Clippers in game one. The Clippers in game one were very dominant in the first half. Let's keep it real. They jumped out. They dropped 59 in the first half, and they actually dropped 59 in the first half, and then second half they struggled a bit, but they closed the show the right way. That's the whole thing. They closed the show in fine fashion. It's that simple, you know. And I think that, you know, being down a few points to go into the fourth quarter, and the way that Kawhi went about that fourth quarter was absolutely amazing. But they got a big effort from Zubac as well, too. Those 15 rebounds were key. They were very key to getting this win. And then Westbrook, those 11 rebounds for a point guard, amazing. That's an amazing stat right there. Then he got 8 assists as well, too. He was able to get 2 steals, 3 blocks. When you look at the stat line for Westbrook, the points didn't even matter. It was the impact that he made on the game. And that was absolutely tremendous, in my opinion. But the bench did a damn good job. Norman Powell had 14, Terrence Mann had 10, Plumlee had 7, and that was pretty much what they needed to help them win this game because they got a good effort from Mann and Plumlee on the boards who they combined for 15. And then when you add that up with Zubac's 15, that's 30. And then you got Westbrook with his 11. They wound up out rebounding the Suns 49-42. And they only had so many guys rebounding the ball. But the key stat in this game and the difference in this game, 15 offensive rebounds for the Clippers. Tonight, the Suns had to clean that up, and they got to clean that up immediately because the Suns didn't even have as many turnovers as the Clippers, but those 15 offensive rebounds make those turnovers null and void, to be honest with you. So pretty much they're going to have to be better tonight. They shot better in the game, but they didn't shoot from the three-point line better, but they only took 19 threes in this game. I think it's still smart that you don't take a lot of threes because you got shooters out there. So I truly do think that what happens tonight is the Clippers are going to be an oversell, to be honest with you. They're going to be an oversell tonight. I'm just going to be honest with you. And a lot of people are going to like the Clippers tonight. They're going to want to bet the Clippers tonight. But I truly do think that the Clippers are satisfied with their split because this is a tough series. This isn't a series that you look up and say, okay, the winner, whoever wins the first game wins the series. No, this series has 7 games written all over it. I can't even tell you who the winner is going to be. It all depends on who wants it more. So I truly do think tonight the series gets evened. And with that being such a big story, the situation with the fan, I think that the Suns are going to go out there and play for the fans tonight and make sure that, that they get that get back. You know what I mean? Because it's already bad enough that you got beat. And then a guy who just got done beating you comes in there and does that to a fan. It's like, well, okay, we're gonna have to step it up for the fans, or they might not show up for Game 5 if we have a Game 5. You know what I mean? So I think tonight you'll get a big monster effort from Phoenix, especially Kevin Durant. I would say this: play the over on the Kevin Durant points tonight as well, too. I think that it's probably going to be registered up at about 27.5, 29.5 tonight. I'm going to have to check that stat, but I think that you playing the over Durant points tonight, that should be a strong bet. And whatever the over is for Devin Booker threes tonight, I would play that bet as well, too. All right, so let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But I like the under 227.5. And I know Nephew's looking at me like, damn, you're just trying to be opposite today. But man, that's just how I'm thinking today. I like the -8 on the Suns, and I most like the over under here in this spot. But I truly do think the Suns should run away with this game tonight because they have revenge all on their mind. That's all I can see, and that's all I can say. All right, so with that, you guys stay tuned. I'll be right back to you when I get back. We will be talking baseball. So please stay tuned to the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Kappa.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Kappa, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, here we are. And wherever we are, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Dodgers last night. Dodgers, what's going on, Dodgers? Like, seriously, Dodgers, what are we doing here? Like, we're 8-9 now. Come on, man. We did not have this in our queue, in our plans. But what did I tell you guys before the season started? The Dodgers would have a slow start because the Dodgers are never a great team when they have one of these, awesome Aprils, you know what I mean, where they just absolutely destroy. They got to kind of always work out the motions. I always feel like the Dodgers' first 2-3 weeks of the season is them still in spring training. And then they really start to go off about the time my birthday comes around, about the 25th. That's how it's really been the last 10 years. The Dodgers, when they're really good in April, it's never ended well. You know what I mean? To where the Dodgers might not even make the playoffs in that situation. But I would say that the Dodgers are right on cue. You know what I mean? 8-9 in 17 games into a baseball season isn't bad because you're playing 162 games. And you have to look at baseball in the sense to where there's going to always be a time where you play 20 games, you might lose 15 of them and only win 5, but you still 2.5 games ahead of everybody else. You know what I mean? That's baseball for you. Baseball is a long season. So you can't just go ahead and already write off teams after 3 weeks. And the Dodgers are not a team that you write off. Everybody knows that. Blue Crew Daily. Dodgers dropped the first game of the Mets series, fall below 500 for the first time this season. This is just like, but it just irritates you, though, that the Dodgers are in this position because there were a lot of, well, it's okay that the Dodgers didn't go crazy for free agency because they didn't need to. But when you look at the situation in hand, you said to yourself that the Dodgers really will need to make a good mid-season trade and find themselves a very adequate third baseman or some type of everyday outfielder that's a big-time player as well, too. I would love for the Dodgers to try to shoot for some of this young talent that's sitting on some of these bad ball clubs, but I know that these teams are not going to be giving up these guys so early in their career, not before they can try to build something up with them. You know what I mean? So Clayton Kershaw is the pitcher tonight. Clayton is 2-1 on the season, 17 strikeouts over 4 walks. And then we also have tonight Tyler McGill, who's actually having a pretty good year. He's already 3-0 on the season, and he has a 2.25 ERA as well, too. And he's only given up 4 runs on the season as well. So, 4 runs in 16 innings. So that's pretty good. The guy seems to keep things he seems to be a speedy pitcher in a sense. He's walking a few. He's not striking out much. He did strike out a lot. He did strike out 7 in his first game of the season. But, other than that, it's been 3-3-3 since then. So pretty much tonight, he goes probably against one of the better lineups that he's won against because he pitched against Miami twice and he pitched against San Diego. And I think that tonight he's going to go against a lineup that's going to be ready for everything. But when I look at that, the Dodgers have 76% of the action on their side. It kind of says, damn, that's a lot. But the Dodgers are also 13-7 in their last 20 games against the New York Mets after a loss at home. So it's always expected because the Mets and Dodgers always have really good backs and forth in LA and in New York. So, regardless of how anybody feels and what anybody thinks, the Mets are actually in the Dodgers' top 5 rivals. You know what I mean? I would say the Mets are a Dodger rival. The Cardinals are a Dodger rival. The Padres, the Giants, and the Yankees. Those 5 right there. Simply. And you know why the Mets are? Because the Mets are considered, they're pretty much considered the Yankees, they're pretty much considered the Giants and Dodgers replacement. and like they put them together. So the blue of the Mets is for the Dodgers, and the orange of the Mets is for the Giants. So they're paying homage to the old teams that used to be there. So this has a rivalry feel to it. So all in all, tonight Kershaw takes the mound. He needs to go ahead and help right these wrongs. The Dodgers batting average, I do not like it right now. 24th in the league. Last few years, Dodgers have been top 5 in that category. But they're still top 5 when it comes to the meaty part of the offense, like runs and home runs and slugging percentage. But we're going to have to get this ERA back together, and they're going to have to get this batting average against together as well, too. 20th in the league right now, batting average against. The Dodgers need to fix that ASAP. The Dodgers have been number 1 in ERA, batting average against, and whip the last 5 years. So they're going to have to fix this, and they're going to have to fix this quickly. So the Dodgers' main source is the pitching. So they're going to have to get a lot better pitching going as we move forward. So tonight, I think that the Dodgers really do turn this one into a pitcher's duel between McGill and Clayton Kershaw. And I think you have to just really go ahead and say to yourself, the Dodgers aren't going to go down 8-10, are they? But if they do, is it that big of a deal? No, it is not. So pretty much with that, this is going to be Blue Crew Daily for today. And tomorrow we'll talk more about the Dodgers, and hopefully we'll be talking about the Dodgers after they win the game tonight. But it will be game number 18 tonight, and I look forward to it. I can't wait. All right, so pretty much let's go ahead and jump into our next topic in hand, and we got our MLB Tuesday night. Rays and Reds. Last night I kind of played hooky against you guys last night. Now, I could have made it the bet us dog of the day. The Reds at plus 125 yesterday, plus 120 actually. But I had that as my client dog bet. I thought that we had more going on with that Mariners game because the value looked a little bit better. So I'm sorry about that, y'all. You know what I mean? Because I could have gave it out, but that Hunter Green boy, good pitcher. Hunter Green only had 1 strikeout because he got hit in the shin, but he should be available for his next start. But he set the tone for the Reds moving forward. He gave up no runs yesterday. They wound up winning that game 8-1. I was not surprised at all because the Reds seem to be a team that's playing with a different type of attitude this season. They're not ready to lay down for anybody, and you got to respect that in that regard as well too. You got to super respect that. All right, so Rays have lost their last 3 out of 4. Not surprised by that after a team won their first 13 in a row. So pretty much they still have the best record in baseball by a mile, 14-3. And they come into this one with the revenge on their mind. Now, Ramirez is absolutely cooking right now. That guy's 349 on the year. He has 3 home runs, and he has 7 runs and 7 RBIs as well, too. But the guy that I'm really intrigued with is Diaz. Diaz is an absolute monster. Diaz has already hit 4 home runs on a year. He got 14 runs and 9 RBIs as we speak. But he strikes out as much as he walks, 10-10 in both of those regards. Brandon Lowe's doing a great job. He leads the team in home runs with 5. He's doing a pretty good job with his 12 RBIs as well, too. Arozarena, though, is the absolute stud of this group. He has 17 RBIs already, and every time I do watch him play, he seems to be on base and he seems to be knocking in a run or something like that. And Wanderlei Franco is batting 300 right now. He has 13 RBIs. So this group is somewhat amazing right now. They are playing the way that a team plays when it's time to win a World Series. And I think that they really do have a lot to offer. Now, they do have Taj Bradley on the mound today, and that's one of their young stud pitchers. And the Reds have Lodolo, who's been absolutely nuts the first few weeks of the year, because Lodolo, he had such a good day against the Reds a few weeks back. I had the Phillies a few weeks back, and they absolutely blew that game. He struck out 12 that day. And then he came back around, played Philly last week, struck out 6. Now, on the season, he has 27 strikeouts. And so that pretty much means he's averaging almost 9 strikeouts a game. So this guy is really a godsend for the Reds. And he's from beautiful Laverne, California. That's right next to Pomona, fool. So pretty much another one of these great Cali pitchers. It seems like the Reds got some of that Cali pit cooking going on. They got some Cali. They got a few Cali pitchers because you have Lodolo, who's from Laverne, and then you have Hunter, who's from LA. So pretty much I know that they have some pretty good talks about growing up in Cali as well. So when you look at this situation and you say to yourself that you have a team that's really playing better than expected, you always have to really take them kind of seriously. But today, though, I feel like the Rays will probably be more into taking care of their fielding as well, because that was kind of a problem yesterday as well too. So I like the pitching matchup, and since we got two pitchers that can dominate this game, Taj Bradley's still a wild card in a sense, but he did pretty well last time out. Let's not act like he didn't. He did very well his last time out pitching. So today I feel like what we will get, we'll wind up getting ourselves a very good pitchers duel today. And I think that when you look at the way that these pitching staffs set up, everything says under 9 here. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But this should be a really, really fun game. And I do expect this game to be really up to tier, up to par. You know what I mean? And last time out, just some quick notes. Bradley actually struck out 8 last time as well, too. Yeah, he got to 5.40 ERA, but he only gave up 3 runs that day, and he struck out 8. And this was against Boston. He went 5 innings as well, too. He's 1-0 on the season. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the next game in hand, and that's going to be this one right here. That's going to be the battle of the DMV. We got the battle of the boys from DC going against the boys from Baltimore. And this should be a fun one. You got a Baltimore team actually with a winning record right now, 9-7. You got the Nats coming into the game 5-11. Usually you got to use the old adage. You got to roll with the team that's actually has the losing record. And today I got to go ahead and take the Nats as my dog of the day. And it's not just because, it's a rival, it's an interstate rivalry game, the I guess they call this the Beltway series, something like that. But it's simply because Josiah Gray has been pitching absolutely lights out lately. Okay, opening day, he got blasted. Okay. First game of the season, he got blasted by the Braves. That's fine. Came back around, went to Colorado, and gave up 1 run. Only lost the game because he got no runs from his team. Angels game, same situation. Pitches a dominant game. Pitches well that day. Gives up 2 runs. Gets no runs from his teammates, from his batters. So today they go against the Orioles, a team with Dean Kremer, who's absolutely been struggling in this spot. And pretty much I feel like today will be the day Josiah Gray actually has a day where he can go ahead and win the game because he's going to get some runs today. So that's all Josiah Gray needs. He's been pitching great. He's been pitching absolutely stellar in the last 2 games. And I got to go ahead and I got to bet that hot hand. It's not always about, you got to look at the guys' performances in these games. You can't look at their wins, loss records when they're pitchers. Sometimes you can't even look at their ERA because the ERA can be messed up off one really bad game. And then the rest of them, you're trying to pick your ERA back up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking the Washington Nationals today at plus 125 as my dog of the day. That's going to be the MLB Bet Us dog of the day. The Nats at plus 120. Okay, plus 120. All right, so that's where we have Matt, and let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward to our next, and this is going to be this right here. It's going to be our game between the Twins and the Red Sox. Twins and Red Sox. This one would have been a good game a few years ago, but the Red Sox are dreadful. Let's just keep it real. Red Sox are in a rebuild situation. Twins right now are playing pretty good baseball, 10-6 on the season. They got their best starter on the mound, and Sonny Gray going today as well. Sonny Gray has 19 strikeouts on the year. He's 2-0 on the season as well, too. Now, he didn't get a decision in one of his best game of the year against Houston, where he struck out 13 over 7 innings. So, you know what you're dealing with. This guy is pitched against two of the teams that I feel like are good enough to win their divisions this year, in the White Sox and the Astros, and he got to combine 18 strikeouts against those teams. Now, he did struggle a bit in the first few games against Kansas City, but that's because he was walking a lot of guys. He didn't give up any runs, and he's only given up 1 run on the season as well, too. So you got a guy in Sonny Gray who at one point was the MVP of the not the MVP, but the Cy Young of the MLB. He went to New York, and things didn't work out the way that you wanted it to in New York. So he had to go to Cincinnati and go get his money. So pretty much he winds up here in Minnesota, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered. He's in the perfect spot for his type of pitching. So I truly do feel like what happens here in this game tonight is that you'll have a Red Sox team that's going to be a bit better because they got Chris Sale pitching tonight. Chris Sale is now getting it back together. He got absolutely rocked against Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay was in the midst of their 13-game winning streak at that point. Now, when he pitched against Detroit, that was a little bit better, but he still gave up runs in that game. He got absolutely crushed by Baltimore in the first start of the season, but when you look at his numbers, the guy still is striking guys out. He struck out 19. He had 6 in his first game, 7 in his next game, and 6 in his last game. Now, this is the same Minnesota team that's had offensive issues in games against teams like the Marlins and games against teams like the Royals. So I think tonight what happens here is Chris Sale has himself probably his best game of the year to start the season. And I think that will play a part in the big value that you get today on the Red Sox, in my opinion, when you get in a minus 110 in a game where they could possibly be minus 140, minus 150 favorite, because they are at Fenway and they do got their big money pitcher on the mound as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right. So, all right. Thank you for that. Philly's up right now against the White Sox. No surprise there. They're up 3-0. I didn't do anything with those early morning games. We had 3 early games today. I just didn't want to deal with them. One of them's a double hitter. One of them's a game 1 of a double hitter. So, sometimes when I see those type of games, I just got to lay off of them. You know what I mean? So pretty much we move forward to our final game I'm going to talk about. I have more games on my tickets, but I only have so many games that we can talk so many games I want to talk about. So we have the A's and the Cubs. This one is not really hard to see. The Cubs are terrible. The Cubs are terrible and the A's are terrible. Yeah, the Cubs are 9-6, but they're still just a bad team because, at the end of the day, the Cubs, they'll catch up with themselves, but they're feeling pretty good about themselves at this moment because they have won their last 6 out of 4 games as well, too. So actually their last 5 out of 7. I'm sorry about that. But they've been having a good week. They also grabbed their last 3 out of 4 because they did win the series this weekend over the Dodgers. They also won the series over Seattle as well, too. So there's a lot of things working out in their favor. They actually won their last 2 series, to be exact, after opening up against Milwaukee and struggling. So, Chicago's kind of back on their team a little bit right now. They're back on the ball somewhat. And I think that, 9-6 is pretty good for this team. And I told you guys that if anybody was going to be a sneaky red devil, it was going to be the Cubs, because the thing is, the Cubs playing a very winnable division at the end of the day. The Brewers and Cardinals are not hard to catch. And if you've seen anything, that the Pirates are actually playing top tier baseball right now as well too, and the Reds. So let's just keep it real. The Central right now is somewhat of a wide open division. They got a lot of good teams in that. They for the time being, because in 6 weeks things are going to get different. You know what I mean? The A's awful 3-14, but we already knew the A's were going to be a bad team this season. But at least they try. You know what I mean? The A's don't just go in the game and lay down. You know, that's one thing I will say about them. They have done a good job of actually just trying to play the game, but it's just really tough. You know what I mean? And you got Marcus Stroman, one of the better pitchers in the MLB right now. Yeah, he's 2-1, but he only has a 1.00 ERA, 20 strikeouts over 8 walks. He had 6 strikeouts in his last game as well, too. He had 8 against Milwaukee, and he had 6 against Texas. So this guy is pitching like a straight up ace right now for the Chicago Cubs. And I think that when it comes down to it, this will be the difference in tonight's game. And I truly do like the Cubs tonight with the 1.5 to absolutely crush on the A's. I don't like to put the teams out there that are doing as bad as the A's are doing right now and say they're going to get crushed, but the writing's pretty much on the wall, man. And the Cubs, you know, you got to take advantage of their hot hand as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to be our 4 games for tonight. And pretty much I got a pick 6, a pick 4, and the NBA playoff bets coming up for you guys in a few moments. But first, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we will talk those tickets. So stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Captain.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and check it on out. Let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. Talkin Tickets. Let's start off with the PrimeTime Pick 6. PrimeTime Pick 6 tonight will look a little like this. 58-1, under 9, Rays and Reds. Nats money line plus 120, or you can say 122. But if you round it off, it's 120. It's plus 120. Over 9 with the Rangers and the Royals tonight. Red Sox money line minus 110. Cardinals minus 1.5 tonight, plus 120. Astros minus 175 with the plus 1.5 tonight. Reason being is because the Astros are in a game that they could possibly win, but I think that if the game is still close, we can go ahead and they'll probably only lose by 1 tonight if they don't win the game. So I got the 58-1 here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next group, and that's going to be the MLB Late PK4 at 11-1. We have the Braves minus 140 tonight in San Diego. We got the Cubs minus 1.5 tonight in Oakland. And then we got the over 8 with the Brewers and the Mariners tonight. And then in the game at the Ravine, the nightcap, we got the under 8 with the Mets and the Dodgers tonight. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, now it's time to talk about the NBA. The NBA, we got the Hawks and Celtics game 2 bets. I'm taking the Hawks with the plus 10 tonight. Also in the first half, I'm taking the over 118 first half. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the Hawks money line first quarter. That's Hawks money line first quarter, okay? Sorry that the first quarter is not there, but it is Hawks money line first quarter. I'm not saying the Hawks win the game. I'm just saying that the Hawks jump out to the early lead in this game, and they make the Celtics really work for this one tonight. And that's why I feel like we will be having a game that's going to be a high-scoring game tonight. So I like the Hawks in the first quarter to set the tone for this game. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, we got our next game up. Knicks and Cavs, game 2 bets. We got the Cavs with the -6. I got the over 111 in the first half tonight. Even though I think the game may go under, I think that the first half goes over. And then I got the Cavs in the first quarter with the -160 money line. So hopefully the Cavs jump out on this one and they score early and often in this bad boy, and they don't put themselves in a position to where we got to sweat out the cover. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our final card of the night, and that's going to be the Clippers and Suns game 2 bets. I got the under 227, and I also have the under 5.5, the 5.5 for the Suns first half, and then we're going to have a little fun, spice it up a little bit with the Clippers first quarter +3. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we will see if we can go ahead and get these bad boys home. And as I always like to say, small risk, big reward. So with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in today. And with that, you guys already know what time it is. It's always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And I'll be right back at you tomorrow, same time at noon. And also I'll be up with Jeff at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, where we'll be on the midday report talking everything from LA to Boston, you know, all the sports included. So make sure you guys tune in for that as well too. So thank you so much for your eyes and ears, and make sure you share and retweet the show as soon as we get done with it as well too, so other people don't miss out, okay? So I thank you guys once again very much. You guys have a beautiful day. Enjoy your day, and always remember, you are a winner. You're not, okay? All we do is try to win the day. That's it, and that's all. So with that, I am gone.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.